Hello, welcome to the virtual sideboard here at the SCG Tour Online Championship Qualifier number 3 of the season. I'm Nick Miller alongside
That's beatdown.
our champion, Alex Gordon Brown. How you feeling?
Justin, we're clear.
Pretty good. Yeah, no, it was very nerve-wracking that last match, but happy with how it went.
Right. I mean, everyone saw the results from last week. Sultai was the name of the game. It was four of the top 8 slots last week.
Yeah.
This week, 6 of top 8 slots. People knew the deck was, the number one deck coming into this week. People were either gunning for it with these like crazy linear aggro decks or these Wynota decks, or they were doing what you were doing, which was heavily tweaking your deck to be good for the mirror. Talk about how you came upon your list.
Yeah, so as you say, everyone knew Sultai was the deck coming in, but I still felt like there was a lot of nonsense in the field. I still felt like there was a little bit of denial going on about how strong the deck was and how strong the Axis of Veronesa Crisis was. So I wanted to be playing that Axis, but then when I'm looking at the regular Sultai list, the list that did very well last week, they have a lot of cards that just aren't good in the mirror at all. Heartless Act, Eliminate, Extinction Event, all great cards against aggro and very poor cards against the mirror or against Temur Elementals. So I just went about replacing all of those with the best things I could find and playing a little bit more of a draw-go game when possible.
Right. I think there's no confusion over the power of the shell that you mentioned. Uro, Krasis, and Nissa are all still just absurdly powerful. Though even still after last week's results, a lot of people, especially even some of our commentators, are saying, Sultai still isn't really
right.
The best deck. People aren't trying to approach the format correctly, or that, what do you have to say about that? It appears that the deck is clearly the best deck and is very powerful.
Yeah, so I listened to the Arena Decklist podcast this week, and there was a lot of that, and I do see where they were coming from. Like, I do think there are issues in the ways the decks were built. It's just that until other people start picking up that access, and until Sultai is inbred for the mirror, I'm not really sure you can fight it in the ways that they want to. Like, my list you can fight with aggro. Like, my list you can beat with mono black every day of the week.
Right.
But while every other list in the field is playing a ton of spot removal and extinction event, like, I'm probably just not going to face those people. And that's what I was betting on.
Right. And you were a step ahead this weekend by the way you built your deck. Kind of what the Arena Decklist podcast did mention is if you built the deck in a way, you're going to have all the power, but still be positioned against the other people who are playing last week's tech. Now, as you mentioned, people started gearing their decks more and more to fight each other like we saw with the Wilderness Reclamation decks. We continue to see that just levels upon levels to where people had to do like mono green or Mardu or mono red to try to get under. How does that look for this format now? What are people supposed to do once, how are you supposed to build the Sultai decks, and what are you supposed to do to kind of beat the Sultai decks?
Yeah, so I think the only Sultai list I played against in this tournament that I was scared of was actually the one I played against in the finals. That was also the only list that took a match off me in round 8. Maxing out on Narset Part of Veils that way, I think, is another very legitimate way to go in the mirror. But what both the counter magic approach and the Narset approach have in common is that they're very weak against aggro. So what I hope happens, otherwise this is going to be a very dull format, is that the Sultai decks start cutting this garbage spot removal in the mirror, and it leaves a bit of space to actually go under the decks again, which I didn't really see against last week's lists.
Right. I wanted to mention you're from the UK, so we have another champion outside the States. Part of, even though we're in this pandemic and we don't get to have the SCG Tour like we normally do, it's been a pleasure to get to watch people from around the globe come to the SCG Tour and people taking the trophies home virtually to different countries. You said it's like 1:30 your time, so you had quite the tough time on terms of the clock schedule here.
Yeah, it was a very long day, and I think maybe my last couple of matches, there were some slightly dubious decisions as to sort of the time was setting in, and I was trying to find ways to actually end games rather than keep playing this long, drawn-out mirror when I'm this tired and it's 1:30 and I've been playing for this many hours.
Yeah, right. Game 1 of the finals there, you had a key turn where you countered a Nissa, and then you untapped into Uro into just a card after card after card after card that all drew another card, and you were able to run away from the game that way. But you had the tools. Your deck was made the correct way, it looked like, for this week to just be well positioned. So you're the champion. Congratulations once again. Do you have any closing shout outs or anyone to thank here while we wrap up?
Thanks for that. I guess I would like note that I joined a team called Team Axion now in the UK earlier this year, and I think that in terms of being able to prepare for events like this has done a lot to help me level up and help me get a sense of where other people are likely to be. Teammate of mine, Sean Goddard, top 8'd last week, didn't do so well this week, but hopefully we can keep putting up top 8s in these events.
Right. These events aren't easy. We see people like Paulo, Vitor Damarosa, Ari Lax, world-class players bomb out of these events on a week-to-week basis when you get to see the level of competition. So there's nothing wrong with not having a strong week here. And as we saw on the in-paper version of the SCG Tour, the teams definitely allowed people to step up their game, and we got to see the ascension of a lot of players who kind of joined forces there. So good on you for joining a team. Alex, congratulations once again. We're going to have more championship qualifiers coming for the rest of the month as people try to qualify for the seasonal championship. So for directors, for the commentators, for the viewers, for all the players, thank you for watching and playing. Alex, congratulations. We'll see you next time here on the SCG Tour Online.
Thank you.